Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kundalini Kendall. So before we get into the activation that I have today, I just want to kind of explain a bit about it and the energy that's going to come through because it's very powerful, but it's also very confronting. And I want you to be like prepared and feel ready to enter this sort of energetic and be ready for this level of transformation in your own life. So this activation is a collaboration with a triple goddess activation I did with Reiki Rachel and Jamie Wozni that you can find the second portion of on Reiki Rachel's channel. In the triple goddess activation, we bring through the energy of the triple goddess, which is the maiden archetype, the mother archetype, and the crone archetype, which these are archetypes you can find in a lot of modern fairy tales or just in general. Like the maiden is often the portrayal of like the Disney princess, right? Or like Marilyn Monroe energy, like very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and seeing the best in people, but often drawn to dark situations because they see with rose-colored glasses and can't actually see the truth of things for what they are. They don't have those strong boundaries. They're not in their goddess energy. They're not in their power yet. But the energy that I bring through in this activation, I am connecting to the goddess of Persephone, as she is a classic maiden archetype. And not only that, but she's also my friend Michael, who I should tag below because he's awesome. He does this thing where he tells you what your archetype is based on Greek gods, and it helps you understand your light sides and your shadow sides and where you need to direct the energy to be more in your power in your life. And he and my other good friend, MC Warrior of the Light, Matt, also an amazing healer, and I were on a call as we're going to be leading a retreat together sometime in the future. And they both were like, you are absolutely Persephone. That is your archetype. And I'm wearing my butterfly skull overalls, which I feel like really, really encapsulates the energy of Persephone. She is this goddess that's playing in a field of flowers. I believe she's Zeus's daughter, and I cannot remember her mother's name, but another very powerful empress like Greek goddess who was responsible for earth and the seasons and everything. She's just picking flowers innocently in a field of flowers, and Hades, the lord of the underworld, comes up and sees her and falls in love with her and wants to marry her. And so he asks Zeus for permission, and Zeus says sure, but her mom is not going to be so happy about it. He asks her mother to marry her, and the mom says no. And so Hades decides to kidnap Persephone anyway and take her down to the underworld. And her mom is so grief-ridden when this happens that she like basically causes a famine and all the flowers dry up, and she basically causes a very long winter, and she's so riddled with grief. And so I believe what happens is Zeus convinces Hades to let Persephone go up so the seasons can come back. But before she does, Hades convinces Persephone to eat a pomegranate seed, thus tricking her into this kind of almost like Stockholm-like syndrome, like karmic cycle where every year she has to go down for half the year and spend half the year with Hades. And it's almost like she's trapped in this. And the myth is that this is what causes winter. But in this activation today, what I'm going to help you do is actually not eat that pomegranate seed in your own life and not continue to perpetuate these same karmic cycles that have kept you stuck for so long. So we're going to be looking at some real confronting truths of where there is Hades energy in your own life, of where you are just like what your ugliest, most shameful parts of shadow self are. And often the irony is when we bring these things to the light, our biggest insecurities are actually nothing to be insecure about at all. And they're actually our biggest strengths and our superpowers. And so when we send them love and we can just like embrace them, then we feel more magnetic and powerful than ever. And so that is what this activation is going to do for you. Now, I highly recommend doing this activation first and then doing the activation on Reiki Rachel's channel, because on Reiki Rachel's channel, the energy that I bring through is the emerging from the underworld and then allowing yourself to bloom from the maiden archetype into this queen mother energy. And then Rachel takes you through the mother energy and Jamie takes you through the crone energy. And it's this beautiful triple goddess activation. But what happened is we channeled this originally, the three of us together. And what the energy that I brought through was so intense and transformative. And some real truths came out of me that I wasn't prepared to come out of me. That we felt like it needed to be its own separate activation for people that were ready for that. So if you are here, congratulations, you are ready for a next level of self. And another thing I want to say before we get into it is something I have been personally called to very recently. So as many of you might know, I am a screenwriter and an actor and a songwriter in Hollywood. I have been in the business for 8 years. I have been through, I would like to say, the underworld and back. I have had my own experiences with Hades-like figures. I always have. I've definitely been Persephone most of my life because I experienced Hades-like figures in my childhood. And then I experienced many Hades-like figures within the distortion of the entertainment industry in Hollywood. And one of the things I have been really grappling with myself is, as a light worker, as a healer, I've always believed, and I actually have a specific gate in my human design chart that is like meant to bring this forth in the world. I have a gate that, like, my principles are so like high and aligned to integrity, but unfortunately they often trigger other people to challenge the system that's there, that they literally start revolutions. And I went and saw Joni Mitchell with my lover, my man, my boyfriend, and his mom. And my boyfriend and I are about to move to Wonderland Avenue in Laurel Canyon, which, again, if you aren't familiar with LA, Laurel Canyon is a beautiful energy for a person like myself and my boyfriend. It's very, very spiritual, and it's also very artistic. It is where some of the greatest artists of all time have lived. Jimi Hendrix, Mama Cass, Joni Mitchell, just to name a few, Frank Zappa, like. So it's got this, like, it's this beautiful blend of like this, like, you can almost tap into frequencies and energies that were happening in the 70s when there was a lot of revolutionary energy happening around, the war and like the like Woodstock and all these things. I can tap into the frequencies whenever I'm in the canyon of these great people and artists that have lived there before. Um, and it's also this beautiful like place in the trees, like in between Studio City and LA and like Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood, West Hollywood. So you feel like you're not in LA, but you are. And there's this lovely little canyon store in the middle that's called Lily's Coffee. And it's run by this woman who has been there for a while. And it's just this really cute, like, hippie looking stand, like just very funky painted. Like, I just love Laurel Canyon. It's got a lot of character and it's very aligned with, I feel like, my energy as a person. Right now I live in Beverly Hills, and I also love Beverly Hills because that's also very aligned to my energy as a person. I can walk to the Beverly Hills Hotel. I'm very connected to Maryland's energy. So I feel like these are these two parts of myself. I definitely have had, like, I had a past life in old Hollywood, which I'll talk a lot about on here at times. But I also know that I had a very short-lived past life in the 70s when a lot of protests were going on and stuff. I don't exactly know when. I just know that I was in a traveling folk band, and I, like, prematurely was killed, I feel, when I was trying to protest against like the government and some of like the just injustices that were happening. So I bring all this up because, I mean, for those of you who know about me, like the other stuff I've shared, like I had a psychic tell me I'm actually Marilyn Monroe's soul and I'm back to fuck shit up, basically. And I've done so many past life healings around this, and like I definitely have resonated with this and found it to be true. And so, because it really connects to my path in this life, like through Hollywood, it feels very much connected to my purpose. But with that energy, like, it's like in my last lifetime, well, my like 2 lifetimes ago, like I was literally killed for wanting to speak truth about the atrocities that I was witnessing, I believe, within the government at the time. And also, I believe the entertainment industry, and I believe that I was killed. I believe that it was like, I believe I was suffering, but I believe that there were people that did not want me to speak my truth when I was Marilyn. I also believe that, I was killed. I don't have clarity, yes, fully on this past life, but in the 70s for like I was probably like 15 years old or something, but there is something that I was speaking up about or something, and it led to like again me being killed. And this is a theme in many lifetimes for me. And a real fear of mine. And again, having this gate, I speak. I met in my family. This has happened. I mean, this has happened to me countless times where I've spoken truth that has come from my intuition and my inner knowing and has been rooted in truth. Or, I've called out injustices within my family system. I've called out many injustices within the entertainment industry. And I have been met with being shamed, gaslit, put down, told that I'm being selfish, told that I'm being like just like unreasonable, I mean I cannot tell you guys like how hard it has actually been for me, like as a very sensitive person. And then like my biggest life lesson my guides told me in this life is to trust myself. And so to like just feel beaten down over and over again for honoring my truth. And so I did this activation that I'm about to lead you through. And one of the biggest things I am letting go of is feeling unsafe in my truth, right? Like feeling like I will literally be killed, silenced, shamed, like feeling like also like as an artist, like I feel like the energy I'm in, like my biggest gift in human design, I believe it's like, I think is it gate 23 or like it could be wrong. It's either gate, I have both gate 43 and gate 23, but whatever. The main one is that I'm here to transform people with my words. So through art, through writing, through songwriting, through speaking, through healing, through channeling. And I'm here to deliver radical ideas to the collective, in very simple ways, but that challenge their entire idea of like what they believed reality to be. So I'm like here to basically deliver very esoteric concepts to the collective in very simple ways, which is totally my brand as a screenwriter. Like I lens the most profound shit through like dick jokes. Like I write like rom-coms and buddy comedies, and I'm a big believer that like the most spiritual thing is also the most human thing, and is loving all human beings, no matter where they're at in terms of like their level of healing or consciousness. And so I like to write a lot of stories about people that are not even spiritual, but the themes, the depth, the undertone is always on some level helping people to come into their power, especially the misfits of the world and the women, and realize their true potential. And so I feel like because this is like one of my gates in human design and I'm a projector, it's often been like one of the biggest like wounds in my life has been that like maybe I have shared things when people weren't ready to hear them, or I have spoken my truth when I wasn't fully invited, and again it wasn't met in a positive way, or like it just like I tried to speak up about like abuse I had experienced to a family member that I would have hoped wanted more than anything to validate me, and like it could have brought us closer together. And like instead I became the scapegoat. Like I always had been the scapegoat in many ways in my family, but I was like projected onto, like I was being a bad person for speaking up about like horrible abuse I had experienced as a child. And it's taken me a long time to be like, wait, I actually did nothing wrong. And then these same dynamics were playing out in my career, in career dynamics, and just so it just has been a really, really challenging path for me. And then to find out like I'm here to like I'm here to channel this revolutionary energy. Because again, one of my gifts in human designs, it triggers revolution. And I was watching, so my boyfriend and I were at the Hollywood Bowl watching Joni Mitchell, and God, she's such a fucking icon. And I mean, talk about someone who embodies, I would say, like queen energy and maybe mother energy and crone energy, which is energy that Jamie is going to bring through in this other activation. But because she just is like, she was sitting on a throne. She had these long gray braids. She had this goblet of champagne and these awesome sunglasses. And this woman had survived a stroke. She's 80 years old, but she was so ahead of her time. Like I've always been connected to Joni Mitchell's energy, and like her lyrics are like, she's calling out injustices. She's saying shit that like no one else was saying. I feel like so to see her just singing and the way she captivated this like sold out stadium of people. And then even as she started to sing the song Night Ride Home, which is all about like a moon, like the moon in the sky on a 4th of July night, like the moon literally started to rise in the sky. It was like she was conjuring the moon. Like it was just such a powerful embodiment to me of like powerful feminine energy. And I felt like, and my boyfriend and I, we just closed on this house. So we went to like look at it. We haven't moved in yet, but I could just feel this canyon energy wanting to come through me more of the bringing my flower child self through a bit more in terms of like this revolutionary energy through, like, especially with Pluto going into Aquarius and how like, and it's going to go officially into Aquarius, I believe in November. But I was listening to this girl, Madeline Moodhart. I hope I'm saying her name right. I always want to say Moonheart, but I don't think that's it. Anyway, she's great. And I was listening to her podcast forecast about this like full moon we just experienced in Aries. And she was talking about the distortions of the entertainment industry in it. And she was talking about how she had felt like there was some deep, dark stuff happening beneath the surface of it, specifically around human trafficking, which again is because of what I've been through. It's like one of my most passionate causes that I want to obliterate on the planet, like and heal on the planet in this lifetime. And I feel like I also witnessed a lot of that when I was Maryland that I tried to speak up about. And again, I was silenced. So, and again, with my own experience with just like the traumas that honestly sexual abuse on children can cause in like long-term development and how much I've had to heal myself to undo the stuff that happened to me. I'm so passionate about exposing injustices and like truth over anything. And and then she was saying just with all the stuff that's been coming to the surface, like, obviously there's like the Diddy stuff, but there's, I just feel like it's all connected to so much more. Um, she felt like there was a lot of shifts around power that were going to be occurring, especially from moving into Capricorn into Aquarius, especially around systems like the patriarchy, white supremacy, these really toxic, awful systems that have kept people down and kept people powerless. And just like, and it validated me because I'm like, I have felt so out of place in Hollywood. Like I feel like I'm just always trying to like do things with integrity. And I'm like I have a movie with a studio right now and they like paid my friend and I who developed this for a polish. And then they said, well, you only did a polish. We need more of a rewrite. And these are the notes. And I say, okay, well, then please pay us for a rewrite. It's very fair. It's your studio. You have millions of dollars. You make massive films. And then I'm getting pushback from that. Oh, no, no, no. It's not really a rewrite, blah, blah, blah. God, like how many times they have been taken advantage like that. And I always feel like I'm being gaslit or like I'm doing something wrong for literally doing what is just aligned to integrity and justice. It's insane. But you start, and I felt this in my family growing up. I would like stand up for things and be like, this is fundamentally wrong. Oh, you're being spoiled, you're being this, you're being that, or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm fucking not. That's fucking wrong. It's like, but when it happens to you because you grew up in it, and then your own beliefs almost create realities that continue to invalidate what you intuitively feel, you start to just feel like you're fucking crazy. Um, and I go on this rant because what part of the activation that I'm gonna bring through today is I don't necessarily believe that love and light is light. Oftentimes, truth is light. And sometimes truth means facing real dark shit and being honest about it in order to alchemize it, bring it to the light, turn it into love. And that is some of the energy that I'm bringing through in this activation today. And so with that, while I was channeling and we are in the underworld and Hades energy, we're healing that and alchemizing it. I also am connecting to Kali. Kali always comes to me. Kali once helped me manifest $22,000 from this. Like, I was working for this company right after the writer's strike in LA, and they were just like this, it's called fucking out them. I don't care, Pocket FM. And they were, um, they're like these audio stories that like you can listen to, and they're based in India, but they wanted to pay a pod of screenwriters in LA to take these audio stories and write them into like 20-minute scripts and film videos for and write and film videos for their platform to bring people to the audio app. And so it was like me and this like pod of screenwriters. But I witnessed so much like unbelievable just like sexism within the team, like, and also just like I saw like very racist things that made me very uncomfortable that I wanted to call out in terms of like casting and like what they wouldn't cast like certain like people of certain ethnicities as certain roles. And I was like, this is like, it just felt very out of alignment with my values. And then also a lot of the story started with women being date raped. And it just like, to me, that just like wasn't something I wanted to be putting out in the world. So I just like, they abruptly fired me and a friend, and like we ended up firing like 6 other writers, all of whom were women, all of whom were making the most amount of money, because we had all asked for the most amount of money because we believed we were all worth the most amount of money. So they fired all the most high paying women from this company. And then one guy who was making the rate that I had asked them initially for, and they had said that they weren't able to do. So there was just like a lot of bullshit. So I asked Kali to help me take like in the like to get justice. And so I ended up, because we still had 6 months of the contract when they fired me. So I ended up, me and all these writers ended up banding together, and we all ended up getting paid out through the end of our contract. And so I got paid $22,000 for doing literally nothing other than speaking up against injustice. And so Kali is not always scary. Often Kali is magic. So anyway, I'm bringing this up because Kali came through while we're in the underworld, and she spoke some real truth through me of some experiences I have had with Hades-like individuals in Hollywood. And I call out 2 very well-known actors in this portion. And my intention, I want this to be recorded on the record, because like at this point I have like what, 975 followers, subscribers on Instagram, on YouTube. I don't know if anyone on here is in the entertainment industry and Hollywood, lives in LA. Like if you do, like holler at your girl. Like if you feel the same way as me, fucking comment below, please. I would love to know where other fellow like starseed light worker, like empath healers are, that also are in the midst of the darkness that is this fucking industry. But, I have no idea like when what I say in this video will be revealed to the general public, or if it will, or if it will just be tucked away in my like sort of healing world and it won't be found. And I intend and trust the universe for the highest alignment of that. But I guess what I will say is that my intention now, as I reflect in saying the names of these very specific individuals who honestly really made me feel just oppressed as a woman in Hollywood, it is not to create a witch hunt. And I really want people to hear me say that. It is not to create another form of just this cancel culture witch hunt, because I don't think that works. And as someone who has definitely been hung for being a witch in a past life or two, I do not believe that that is the answer. I believe the answer lies in growth, in accountability, in balance, and in justice. And so what I do believe is, by calling out these 2 individuals, is that my hope would not be to cancel them so much as it to invite introspection, it to invite healing, it to invite growth, not just for these 2 individuals, but for the collective of Hollywood at large. And then Hollywood is such an epicenter and mirror for the rest of the world, and for the rest of the world in general. We preach things like Me Too. We preach things like Time's Up, but is it fucking really? And so my intention with calling this bullshit out is to help you call bullshit out in your own life and find that strength and courage to stand up for any injustices that you may have experienced. Because if you're watching this, I'm sure you are a sensitive soul. I think most of my audience is female. If you're, basically a non-white person and you've experienced any like injustices and bullshit, like I know I'm a white ass girl. But my intention and hope is to empower you to stand up. I really appreciate you for listening to this intro. I invite you to do the activation. And then if you are loving the energy and you're feeling like you're just wanting to step into your power even more, I invite you to stay tuned because I'm going to be talking more in depth about the inner witch, activate your inner witch circle I'm leading with Reiki Rachel and Jamie Wozni on the 28th. That's a Monday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. PST. And then I am leading a Witchy Girl Fall Retreat on Sunday, November 3rd at 9 a.m. PST. That is going to be equally powerful. It's going to be like, we're going to be doing the most like, I've learned how to do witchcraft. Again, all the witchcraft I do is only in alignment with love and the highest timeline for all. It's only putting out light into the world. But I've channeled two very powerful spells. One is a banishment spell that banishes everything you are done with in your life in a very harmonious, joyful, and aligned way. And the other is a cornucopia, like multiplication spell. So we are multiplying and amplifying the energies of your harvest in this fall season so you can receive the cornucopia of abundance that you so deeply deserve, that may be like the growth and the final, like the harvest of seeds that you have planted and been harvesting away at for years. So if there's things that you've been calling in for years that you haven't received, my Witchy Girl Fall Retreat on November 3rd at 9 a.m. PST is going to be exactly what you need. And then if you're wanting to do a more intimate, like setting intentions, like community-based witch circle to really tune into the Scorpio energy, I highly invite you to join Reiki Rachel and Jamie Wozni and I on the 28th. So I've linked both of those below. And I'm now going to get into the activation portion of this Persephone activation. And Jamie and Rachel are going to be joining me in the activation as they will be flowing energy. Once you feel grounded in your body, just taking another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Dropping your consciousness into your feet, feeling very rooted to the earth. I am also flowing you this divine healing energy. And I want you to imagine now that you are standing in first person, barefoot, on the earth, in the middle of a abundant, flowery field of wildflowers. You can feel the grass between your toes and smell the sweetness of spring and feel the sun on your skin. Maybe you have a flower or two in your hair. And I want to invite you to tune in to the beginning of a life cycle, a cycle that you've been moving through for quite some time. Maybe this is a cycle of when you first graduated from high school or college, or maybe it's when you moved to a new city or got out of a relationship, but just your intuition will know how old you are at the beginning of this cycle. continue to walk along through this field of wildflowers. And with each step, you are dropped into a deeper subconscious state where you are revealed the energy or memories associated with the beginning of this cycle. So 5, dropping deeper now. 4, noticing your breath deepen and your body relax. 2, 1. Being revealed now, the energy of this, where it all began. Just notice how you are back then. Are you more innocent? You could even be a child. What are your dreams, your hopes? Who is around you? Just noticing how your desires, your dreams, or even your identity is similar to who you are now, but perhaps it's also evolved, expanded, changed. And so, as you're tuning into this energy, time traveling back, suddenly you notice that the beautiful sunshine and the field of wildflowers, the sky begins to darken, and you notice storm clouds are filling the sky. And suddenly you turn around and you notice a cloaked figure behind you. And I'm just setting you the energy of protection and safety, letting you know that while fears may come up, we are all safe in this space. And we are going maybe into the darkness for the sake of transformation. And so this cloaked figure rides up on a dark horse and scoops you up, this past version of yourself. And the horse begins to gallop before you can even really process what's happening. I want you to just tune in to your body, noticing anywhere you're feeling unsafe or just breathing into these spaces of discomfort. This energy represents Hades. And suddenly you notice that the earth splits in front of you and a dark staircase is revealed. And you and this horse and this hooded figure begin to descend down into the darkness, into the underworld, into your own underworld, your own shadows. And so with each step down, you are descending deeper and deeper into your own subconscious. So we're going now. 10, dropping deeper. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, you find yourself in the underworld. It's dark. There's cobwebs and muck everywhere. And there you see Hades and his throne. And you are innocent and jarred by this experience, and allowing any grief that might want to come up because you were just playing in a field of flowers. How could darkness like this exist? And once again, you notice that while this darkness is very, at first, jarring and scary, you find this deep strength within yourself to look at it, to understand it, knowing that you'll be back, you'll return to the field of flowers, but with a deeper understanding. And so I want you to just tune in again to this past version of self. What lesson did your soul need to move through? Why the darkness? Why were you brought to the underworld when all you wanted to do was play with flowers? Tuning in now, and I'm going to be silent, to the journey that you went on since this age you were shown. Allowing any feelings or emotions or memories to just come to the surface, and I'm flowing you this divine healing energy of just awareness. How was the dreams or who you were back then not fully in alignment with the expansion of your soul and your truth? Maybe only part of you was shining through. Maybe you were drawn to your own version of Hades that wasn't in alignment with your full authenticity. And I want you to notice there's a part of you in the shadows hiding away that really needs your love, a part of your own underworld. You look up and you notice that against the walls in the shadows, there's this hideous, like distorted version of self. And you're still this maiden covered in flowers, and you invite it gently towards you. This is maybe the ugliest part of you, or just a part that is still controlling your life in some capacity. It's keeping you trapped in the underworld. And so as it comes out of the shadows, I invite you to notice just it transforming into this younger version of you, might be even younger than the point you were brought to, that really needs your love. And so I just want you to notice how old this part of you is, what it's afraid of, what is it scared of, what keeps it up at night or keeps it in the shadows. Just sending love and compassion as it reveals this to you now. Perhaps this part is so young, it's just been with you since the beginning of this life or past life, that it just feels so familiar. I'm getting that this could be a belief that's so ingrained in you, you can't really imagine not living with it. So just creating space for this to come through. We are sending love, unconditional love to this part of you. I want you to invite this sweet part of you over, noticing that it really isn't scary anymore. It's just this little child version of you that didn't deserve what happened to it. So just sending love and compassion and telling it like you would a little child, I'm so sorry you went through this. I'm so sorry that this darkness was so familiar to you that it started to just feel like your truth or like your home. Allowing any emotions to come up. And now I want you to just ask this little part of you what it would rather be doing, what would be more joyful or more empowering or more just satisfying than just holding on to this dark belief and just staying in the shadows to this little part of you. And I want you to promise that you will do more of this with this part of you. If it can promise to do something really, really brave and truly embody a totally different belief, a new entire sense of self. This is beyond a limiting belief shift. This is an ego death. This is a true transformation. And you know that this might be really scary. This might be so unfamiliar and uncomfortable, but like the caterpillar eventually becomes the butterfly and it seems like it's a world apart from where it's been, you too can take this on. You notice that your left is this higher version of self, here to help this shadow version of self, this inner child version of self, see this from a different perspective. So if there's anything that you're struggling to let go of, that you're struggling to shed, or understanding that you're struggling to shed, we're inviting this to come through your higher self now. Allowing the light to come in, and your higher self offers you a new belief and a new perspective. And we're telling this younger version of self that it's safe to take this on. It's safe to be in your power. It's safe to be free of the underworld within you. By revealing this, by owning this, it no longer can hold power over you. And so just, if it's okay with this younger version of self, hugging this inner child and this higher self version of you merge, they all merge into your heart space now. And here you are, this more integrated, empowered version of the you that was just innocently picking flowers. And now you look to Hades and you tell him, I want to go home. I want to go back up. There's something, karmic energy, that just like won't quite let you. And as you look at Hades, knowing that you are in your power, he begins to transform into an energy, a person, a situation, a cycle in your own life. Or perhaps you have had rose-colored glasses, or you haven't fully seen truth. Perhaps you have been overly idealistic, and while believing in magic is what we're all here to do, we can only transmute darkness into magic by actually seeing it for what it is. So I want you to just see. Perhaps you've been understanding this, but you haven't fully been able to let go. So where is there Hades in your own life that you need to let go of? And what was the karmic lesson of this person, relationship, situation? What was it that you were meant to learn so that you can truly be free of it and move forward? I know for me, I'm being really called to use my voice to almost out distortions I've experienced in the entertainment industry, even specific people and situations. And so there's so much, because it's connected to so much more darkness than I think I'm even really aware of what's going on beneath the surface. And so you owning your own darkness, it's like, it may seem like it's just relevant to your own sort of life experience, but we're all one and we're all connected. This is the energy of like revolution. It's that Pluto and Aquarius energy that we're all stepping into, the change. And as spiritual people, we often want to just focus on the light because that's where we feel safe, because there's so much pain and darkness in this world that is so hard to see. But by seeing it, by not ignoring it, by not bypassing it, we bring it to the surface to be transmuted and transformed. So noticing, where might you be bypassing in your own life? Excusing bad behavior, oppression, suppression, abuse, violence. Kali is wanting to come through, of course. Systems like the patriarchy and white supremacy, and these very distorted systems that have been ingrained in us by the certain people and systems in power that want to keep us down and want to keep us small, but they can't keep us small anymore. It's like a deeper invitation for the healers of the world to be coming into positions of power, to be coming into positions of leadership, to be coming into positions of money. And you have to own your own darkness or your own encounters with darkness to do so. Because we want people like you to be in their power, because that's how the world changes. Ooh, my soul is guiding me to say some stuff, and I'm like, I really don't want to do this right now. Like, but I'm like, it's kind of like, how can I be the person that's doing this if I'm not going to actually speak truth? So, you know, for example, like I was forced into a very uncomfortable situation where I was almost set up on a blind date with Nicolas Cage. And I ended up writing a script for him, and I wrote this priestess character that was so powerful. He accused me of opening a portal to dark magic and abruptly like fired me from this project. And that was before my spiritual awakening, but it was just such a jarring experience. And he was so drunk when he went to leave this blind date that I kind of got set up on, that he left his credit card in my jean jacket pocket. And I pulled that credit card out 2 weeks later. I was sitting with a friend at Jeff Garland's house working on something, and I went to leave and I pulled out Nicolas Cage's credit card, and I was like, I have no idea how that got in there. He was so drunk. He like must have slipped it in there. And I remember thinking, oh my God, Jeff, I didn't seal this. I don't know what to say. And he's like, no, you have to keep that shit and put it in your future office. That's so insane. And at the time, I thought that Jeff Garland was a mentor to me. And then what happened shortly after, he like fully Me Too'd me and a friend. I can't believe I'm saying this right now. But then later hired us onto a project that he said he would pay us for and never paid us for, and no one will seem to get us paid for that. And I was silly and foolish, naive enough to think he'd changed. And I never spoke up about it publicly in any way because I was like, I don't want to be that girl. That's not who I am. I've poured 8 years into my career in this industry. I'm so much more than just the girl that Jeff Garland Me Too'd or Nicolas Cage accused of opening a portal to dark magic, although that's kind of a cool title. And so at the same time, this is just iceberg of the abuse of this industry, of just all the things that have happened in it. And so I guess my soul is telling me to share this with you, to find that courage within yourself. Okay. And so just feeling the power of that. And Kali's like fucking caught Hades' head, and like she's like holding his head like in her hand right now. I don't even see Hades anymore. So how can we walk from these karmic cycles in our life? How can we be brave together? Be courageous, leave that relationship. It don't justify abuse behind any label. That's something I had to learn. That's something I had to really learn. You know, I had a twin flame awakening. I've had like 2 different twin flames, and one was really dark, but I was so in love because I know how that twin flame thing can feel. I couldn't see that darkness. So if there's a Hades in your life, I'm just calling you to just find that courage. Find that courage. You're supported by the divine more than you know. So anyways, and now I'm calling in Archangel Michael to just cut all of this darkness free, to liberate you, to liberate me, to liberate all of us, so that you may go back, that you may leave the underworld. And maybe there's this Hades energy is holding out this pomegranate seed to you, but you're too smart for that now. You're not going to be tempted to go back. And so you say respectfully, fuck no, thank you. I'm good. And Archangel Michael cuts all this energy free, lifting you of burdens. And you notice that Hades and this energy just dissolves into this dust. And the violet flame is coming in to transmute all of this into golden light. And you notice that the underworld is just being illuminated. And with it, you see a staircase, a golden glowing staircase. And this light just begins to fill the underworld. And you notice that as you are revealing truths to yourself in your own life, and you are leaving situations behind that don't serve you, this light is spreading, and you notice it's spreading throughout all of the underworld. And you may notice others in the shadows that you didn't even know you were liberating by this radical self-honesty. And so you notice this staircase, this golden glowing staircase in front of you, and you begin to ascend, you begin to walk, but you are not the maiden that entered. You are this empowered queen, goddess, and you begin to walk up the staircase. And as you do, this light from above just trickles down, and you step, and we're stepping, and 5, and we're getting closer, and 4, and 3, and getting closer now, and 2, and when you get to 1, you emerge and you're in this field of just, it's the same field of flowers, but it's so much more vibrant than it was when you left it. There's fairies dancing and butterflies everywhere. And just, you might even see other people you love in your soul tribe waiting for you, cheering for you, for your return from the underworld, for your liberation from the underworld. Noticing who's around you. And they're like, we're so happy that you're free. It's been in this freezing cold winter without you being in your power. And you notice that the ice and the frost are melting just from the trees, and flowers are blooming. Another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to just tune into your heart space, the wisdom of your body. You look down and you begin to notice that you are standing barefoot in the middle of a vibrant field of wildflowers. And I'm getting the channeled message of that song. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Dun-dun-dun, give up the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. And while I don't fully remember the lyrics, that energy is coming through of like, you belong somewhere you feel free. Rooting your feet down to the earth, grounding your body, breathing into your feet, connecting with the earth. I am now disconnecting from your energy, pulling the energy down, pulling my energy back to me, sending your energy back to you. So I just want to thank you for joining me for that activation. Once again, I invite you, if you're wanting now to step into this more flowery energy, go to Reiki Rachel's channel and do the activation, the second part of this activation linked below. And if you felt the depth of transformation of that experience and you are wanting an incredibly powerful, like, I'm telling you, just like this, like expansion energy. Like we just went through the shadow. Now it's time to just expand. On November 3rd, I am leading a Witchy Girl Fall Retreat. You can use the code WITCHPLEASE to get 1111 off. The price is $66.66 because that number has been so distorted by the patriarchy. It's actually this like this number of feminine energy. And my inner Lilith was like, make the price $66.66. But with 11, with the code WITCHPLEASE, you can get 1111 off. It's going to be so transformative. I also, when you sign up, you'll get an email list of different herbs and spices I recommend you getting together, and ingredients for an altar for the retreat, because we're going to be doing actual like really fun spells together, and it's going to be like the best time, and powerful like spell work and numbers. And I want to say that when I actually did these spells the first time, literally the next day I was in an apple orchard with my sister, like just shaking my tits around, eating apples, living my best life, following my joy. She had to make a video for her. She has a cooking brand, and she was making videos for this like champagne company. And I had no service. And when I got in the car and I finally got home, my boyfriend, I was like, hey, I tried to call you 4 times. Like, I wasn't able to get a hold of you. And he was like, but I ended up like putting an offer down on the house that we liked and they accepted it. And I was like shocked because I didn't even know that, like, because he was putting the majority of it down. I had no idea that we even had like the finances together, like to put an offer down that fast. But I guess 2 other people had also been putting offers down, but they still went with ours because he wrote a heartfelt letter about why he wanted to live in Laurel Canyon. And instead of going with the offer that was going to be all cash down, they ended up going with my boyfriend's offer because they wanted someone that would like be like a part of the community. And so we ended up manifesting like our dream house. And I will attribute it to, like, his actions and hard work, but also I had done like a full on like abundance, like manifestation, like spell, like banishing lack, banishing debt spell, and then like calling in the cornucopia like the day before. And I also manifested a brand new Tesla because my car got smashed in. Um, And a few weeks before that, I do not think it's a coincidence that my friend Riley came over to hang out. She came inside. I was dog sitting at my boyfriend's mom's house in Pasadena. She came inside, we kind of talked. We ended up channeling like a loved one who wanted to come through. We walked outside because we were going to go on a hike to a waterfall. And we look at my car, which again, an hour before had been totally normal, and the entire car was smashed in. And we look up at a license plate that says Kali on it. And the neighbors weren't able to find footage of what happened, even though they had a security camera. It was really weird. And I was like, why is this happening? And I kept seeing statues of Shiva, which I believe is like all about like in Hinduism is all about like destruction and rebirth and stuff. And I just found out my insurance company is calling this a total loss. And again, I've had this car for like several years and they're paying me a large settlement. And I've been dreaming of having a pink Tesla for a very long time. And I'm finally actually able to buy myself that Tesla. I found out again after I did these spells. Um, I do want it to be on the record that I do not support Elon Musk, but I love dog mode. I have 2 doggies and I like that it's good for the environment. And I am also setting the intention that a really powerful woman creates a car model just like the Tesla. And when she does, please comment on this video below, because when I become rich and like powerful in Hollywood, I'm going to be investing in that company and I want that to be quoted. But again, I just love the drive of the Tesla, all this stuff. So anyways, if you're wanting to call in like those level of manifestations, like big manifestations like that, like physical, tangible things, like this Witchy Girl Fall Retreat on November 3rd is going to be all about that. And if you're wanting a more intimate, like Halloweeny, like reflective, like tuning in, like setting intentions, getting clear on what it is you want to call in, like almost this like intimate, sacred, feminine space, the Activate Your Inner Witch Circle I'm going to be leading with Reiki, Rachel, and Jamie Wozni is going to be so beautiful. And again, that's actually donation based. So you give what you feel aligned to giving and you show up, bring a journal and maybe a candle, and it's going to be really exciting. And I actually invite you to do both because I feel like one is almost paving the way for the next. So those are all linked below, as well as the second part of this activation. If you are new to my channel and you like the fucking intense ass energy that I just brought to your life, I highly invite you to subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Kendall Milton. That's my regular Instagram. You can subscribe to my other channel, which is also I am Kendall Milton, where you can see more of like, there's like several old sketch comedy videos I wrote and produced several years back. There's also like, I just posted 2 more recent monologues I did. One is a Drew Barrymore monologue because I'm very connected to her energy. And another is a monologue I wrote from a move, like an excerpt of a scene that was taken out from a movie I wrote with my friend Riley, who I've done several activations with. You might recognize her from Rachel's channel too. So that's on I am Kendall Milton. And I'm going to start putting I'm going to put my acting reel out on there and just like more videos, like about my entertainment industry career and be more like vocal about that and all that. So I would invite you to subscribe to that. And then Kundalini Kendall on Instagram as well, for my healer account. Could really use some more followers on there because like I think I have like 200, but I really do like connecting with you guys. You know, feel free to comment on this video or DM me or whatever, because yeah, I don't know, like you guys, we are the revolution, and we all talk about being new earth. We all talk about what that means, but I don't think any of us really have understood that that actually does mean being like trailblazers and being leaders and not bypassing what's going on in the rest of the world. So if this resonates with you and you feel like lit up by what I'm saying, then I highly invite you to yeah, to just subscribe. And if you are wanting to know what your gifts are in human design and what perhaps your biggest purpose here is in this life, which often is the inversion of our biggest block, I have created a 21 step human design. It's a quantum leap through human design journal that really helps you explore the gates of your human design chart, and really thought-provoking journal prompts, like where you'll start in one energetic and then you'll emerge in a totally different energetic. It's really, really powerful. It's on sale right now for 11/11. I've linked that below. And I hope that you have a beautiful day, and please comment below. Share your Persephone experiences with me. Be brave. If you're feeling like, ooh, wow, Kendall's like truth and authenticity, like that actually really inspired me to want to be more vocal about what I've been through or whatever, but you're like, I'm scared and you don't feel safe, this is a safe space. This channel is a safe space. So I invite you to comment something really brave below. Like I would love that, because you guys, like, we can empower each other. And if you were inspired by my honesty and truth, comment that below, because this took a lot of courage for me to post. And I'm starting a podcast that I'm going to be releasing sometime in November, and it's going to be called Kendall in Wonderland, because that's the street I'm living on in Laurel Canyon, but it's actually all about the crossover between being an artist and being a healer, and like just all my experiences in the screenplay that has been my life. And I got guidance that my first episode needs to be like the full Nicolas Cage story. And I wrote it all out in the form of almost like a short story. And I'm actually going to share it in a storytelling night in LA somewhere. So I'm going to do it like that. But I'm being called to be more vocal about just the entertainment industry and the corruption in it. And I've all the fear has popped up, but I know that in this lifetime, where maybe it wasn't there in past lifetimes, because we are supported by the energies of Pluto and Aquarius, because we are here to create new earth, I am supported. So it's not to bypass like the trauma of so many times where this hasn't worked out, but it's like to sink into like the belief and the understanding that like maybe you're being called to do something that you're really afraid to do because so many times it hasn't worked out, but this time I'm telling you it is going to work out. So yeah, I've linked all that below. I hope that you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, and I will see you in the next video.